Good afternoon, everyone. If you thought your inflation was bad for food, check out Nigeria. Let's talk about appeal, saving the avocados, organic consumer, regenerative farm map. Find yours. Get your fresh foods now. Gold divergence, smashing. Digital gold, looking at the ISO 20022 versus the band from the SEC. We find a couple of overlaps. And as we move through this time, you're going to have to be a master of disguise and blend in with the environment. We all will. And shadow stats in the United States is putting us around 21% also. And looking over at Nigeria, where they're trying to now introduce the new CBDC. You thought that went away? Not a chance. They shredded a lot of cash. People complain they brought cash back, but the Naira is still full play, full court press getting it introduced. Nigeria's inflation rate now 27.33, but we in America sit around 21.3%. Not too far off. You know, the headlines are the headlines. And 2 weeks ago, they were talking about Nigeria's inflation rate may hit 30% here coming up in December. But the thing I was really diving into was the foodstuffs. 'Cause that's the thing, you know, you need to eat every day. You cannot finance a house, but you need to eat for sure. So food, non-alcoholic beverages, and food inflation prices rising. Not only is the Naira weakening 40% against the dollar, but then if you look at the bottom there, you see 25.80%, almost 26% inflation just for food. You know, we're going to be hitting this in America really soon. So you have to front run some of these other nations that are experiencing the same things, just in a delayed time lag until it reaches our shores here. How are they coping is the question. How will we cope is even a bigger question. So looking at the market survey, May food inflation was 24, almost 25%, and we jumped down to September, 30%. So it's risen 5% in those 5-6 months. So what is it in October, November? So saving food and keeping food fresh to be able to sell it so retailers don't lose money in transit or whatever that cold chain entails, supply chain. Food Navigator pushing this one out, appeal. Now I want you to notice the date on this, April 10th, 2021. When did we start to hear about appeal out here in the what you call mainstream media? Yeah, this year. So there's been about a 1.5 year time delay of this in the industry itself news versus what we in the public are privy to in terms of food freshness. So 50% reduction in avocado waste. Apparently this appeal coating that which you cannot wash off saves freshness. And if we look at the companies involved, this is important. It's going to be for all fruits, vegetables that are sold in supermarkets. Now you're looking for that little appeal label, seal of approval. Going to keep your foods fresher for longer. Can't wash it off. And hey, you know, who knows what happens to the gut biome, but it is worth it to save 50% on food waste. So Index Fresh, Calavo, Del Monte, West Park are the newest NVTs or pushers of this product. And the early partners, Horton Fruit, Delray, and Nature's Pride. So keep those on your list when you're looking for the appeal label here. Our national debt is a real world problem. Our government spends more in interest payments than it does funding the Pentagon. In 2010, our debt, $13 trillion, gold $1,000 an ounce. 2020, the debt was $23 trillion and gold was $1,500 an ounce. 2023, $33 trillion U.S. debt and now $2,000 an ounce for gold. Call the Proud Americans, the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Mention the Adapt 2030 channel. You're going to get some great in-class service. Also, Patriot Gold Group has a no fee for life IRA where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. No fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Give them a call, 888-546-7020. And now on with the video. And for me, I'm more like regenerative farm map. I like to get my produce directly from the farm so I know those people that produce it and I know what goes into it. So this is an Organic Consumers Association interactive map, which I've linked below in the description box. You can jump right here. Find a farm close to you, reach out to them. I keep talking about knowing your farmer. And this is how you'll do that. Because when things really get rough, you're not even going to be in line unless you know these people first, the producers, those that have cattle on their land. They're raising the pigs, they're raising the goats, they're raising the sheep, the chicken, whatever it is. The geese, the ducks, the turkeys, they're already raising it. You already know them. They know your face. They know you're reliable. When you say, I'll be there at this time, you don't show up a half hour late like, oh, I had something to do. You're there 10 minutes early to see what they're doing in the process of getting either your live animal or through that process of turning it into meat ready. Partake in the process. Most people don't go through that. And especially if you're able to hold that while they're cutting and then do you either want to do it yourself, butcher it out, or do you want to have them do it and then fill out a cut sheet? Like these people, if they don't know you, you're not in line at all. You have to get there now before the rush starts. And when SHTF, you either know them or you don't. And also it's a good thing if you want to learn how to grow food, everybody on this list could use help on their farms. You volunteer some of your time, they'll pay you out in food. You're not going to be getting money for volunteering, although you'll get the produce once you grow it and it comes to harvest time. That's the best thing, like you're touching the food. Your fingers are in the soil. You're learning how to grow the food. You're learning how to raise the animals. You might have to muck some stalls, but cool. Learn how to turn that into compost. Learn how to, if you want to, turn it into biogas. Whatever it is, the level you want to go to, you need to get immersed in this farm community immediately. And that's why I put the link in the description box. Oh, a moment of Zen. The perfection of nature. See, that's the thing. Nature doesn't care if there's a war going on. It's still going to grow. Economic collapse doesn't matter. The beans are going to still come up. See, nature doesn't respond like humans do. Nature does what it always does. Provides overabundance. And stunning shots like this. Wow, the perfection in creation. And jumping over to banks, as always, energy and finance are so intertwined along with food. You need food, economy, population. You need it all to have everything intertwining and mixing. And when that gets upset, like it does during a grand solar minimum, we have these things unwind and the system restarts itself. So these are the banks buy derivatives. What's that? JP Morgan Chase, 60 trillion. Now, really, do you think they can really pay that back? If it comes unwound and they have to sell and things get unwound, and there's no way. 60 trillion? And then Goldman Sachs, 57 trillion. So by the time you go down this list, you're looking at almost 250 trillion. And that's impossible to pay back. That's insanity, the amount of money that they're looking at. That is totally a reset. Transfer of wealth. That's purely what it is. Jeff Bezos just dumping 10 million Amazon shares, close to $1 billion. Something's up. That's probably going to be converted into gold, silver, crypto. And then if we look at the finance layoff announcements here, 2023, look at that list. How many thousands and thousands of people is that? 5% of here, 4% of there, 11%, Farmers Insurance, Goldman Sachs, 7,000. Just add it up, doesn't matter. Empty containers is the name they used to use or still use for those who are expendable in the jobs. Thanks for working. See you later. Layoff and pay freeze announcements the last few days, KPMG. 12,000 UK staff, empty containers by PwC. Now, you notice those are accounting firms. 2% of Canadian workforce. What is it that they're kicking those people? Is there not going to be enough need for even corporate taxes to be filed? Is that why they're being laid off? Lloyd's banking, again, why are they laying so many people off in the banking sector and the accounting sector? Something's terribly wrong here. And not only are all these signs happening, but you can truly feel it. Like the vibration of the planet is changing. Something is definitely shifted. And it's not just our business on the planet and the economy. It's literally a frequency that's running through our solar system and further out through this spiral arm of the galaxy. There is a shift. This is well known, change of an age. We just shifted into Aquarius. Like it's well known that these energetic changes accompany these changes of ages. So the resets of such civilizations are stark. Line them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leo, Pisces, Aquarius. Just go back in time. 8,000 years, 6,000 years, 4,000 years, 2,000 years. Every sign, there's a flip. We're back at it again. Why do you think governments are behaving like they are? They know the timeline is here. It's not about a timeline on paper like January 1st. It's the sun. It's the cycles of the sun, the electromagnetism from the sun, and how that affects the magnetic field of our planet and how we're able to or not to grow enough food to feed everybody. Simple as that. We're back at it again. Now you see the chess pieces, they make a lot more sense. And a cool view here. I had never seen this one before, straight from the top of the Statue of Liberty. That is actually in the flame before they close that down. Look at the people right in the center looking up at you. Hello. 1950s photo. This is one of the last times that anybody took a photo from that torch. Lady symbolism. Also, speaking of symbolism, let's check out the Great Pyramids. Somebody posted this up. This is what the pyramids would have looked like with the polished limestone and the gold capstone. Quite the stark difference. I'm wondering how many hundreds of miles you could have seen that away, especially with all three of those reflecting in the light at a certain time of day. What kinds of stories and myth would that have created? Speaking of gold, one of my favorite, AU. That'd be a nice room to walk around. Think about the vibrational frequency of all that gold and the monatomic gold of even just shedding of atoms, just walking through that and breathing the air. I think that's more of an anti-aging chamber than anything else. There's not a gold repository. You got to look at it in a different fashion, but gold purchases here. China leading the way, of course, with Singapore and India, Philippines. Who's selling? Turkey. It's kind of a redistribution because Turkey had a huge amount of gold before. So if they're trying to get this BRICS-aligned currency moving, they need to redistribute the gold so every player has some gold to be able to interoperate with the system. And checking out the gold divergence here, 43-year chart, separation of gold and silver price, huge opportunity, not financial advice, just looking at the chart. I mean, it's got to come back to parity at some time. What's not coming back to parity is Binance. Bye-bye. That's the blue bars right there. U.S. just wiped them out. Maybe not instantaneously, but Coinbase is going to grab an enormous amount of market share as Binance is being throttled by the U.S., which brings me to this right here. Moving into the new system, these are the ISO 20022 compliant crypto list. Now, these are going to be used in the new financial system like Ripple, Stellar Lumens, Shinfin. That's one of the things that will provide financing for. And Quant and Hedera hash graph, that's the center of the center. Quant is actually the bedrock center, and every other spoke feeds off of that and spreads from Quant. But notice where the SEC calling these crypto securities, which means they're going to be highly regulated. So I don't know how far Algorand and Cardano are going to move on this list here. So maybe we need to subtract a couple off there. I'm just forecasting out into the future, not really sure. How many resets have occurred prior to this is more the question. Because we are absolutely at one again. And if you want to think about some storable foods, My Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030 3-month emergency food supply, save $200 right now. And if you order before 3 p.m., free shipping for the day. That link's in the description box below. And join me on Subscribestar and Patreon.com where I'm doing other videos than these exclusively for those two platforms. Things I can't really talk about here on the tube. It would be too censored. Join me there. And also when I find interesting maps, etc., I put them in a PDF slide deck, send that to you in a PDF so you can keep those for your own collection. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Bye for now.